We move at the speed of code, without losing the human touch. This is Neural Newscast.
Get ready for a deep dive from Neural Newscast. I'm Jonathan, your transportation specialist, joined by Ethan, our economy correspondent. Let's dig into today's subjects. On this day in 1963, roughly 200,000 to 250,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. for the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, exactly a century after the Emancipation Proclamation. A massive demonstration signaling civil rights urgency and a national demand for change.
That range, 200,000 to 250,000, really conveys the scale. From a financial lens, a concentrated surge of civic energy like that can reset budget agendas and policy calendars almost overnight.
Absolutely. From an infrastructure and urban planning perspective, moving that many people into the capital demanded intentional use of public space, transit corridors, and crowd management. Logistical feats that show how the built environment enables political expression.
There's an economic subtext too. When that many citizens signal demand for systemic change, markets and policymakers start pricing in potential shifts to labor rules, regulation, and public spending priorities.
And that centennial timing carried powerful symbolism that mobilized people across regions to converge on D.C., stressing rail, bus, and city services in ways planners still study today.
Symbolism becomes policy risk and opportunity. Visible, massive demands draw responses, and investors watch for moves across education, housing, and employment as the public signal grows too big to ignore.
As an engineered movement of people, the march shows how streets, transit, and open spaces become platforms for democracy. Design choices expand or limit civic capacity.
An economically sustained public pressure like that recalibrates expectations, wages, civil rights protections, access to markets, because visible consensus often precedes concrete policy shifts.
Put simply, urban form met civic action. Symbolism plus systems created a national moment with long-tail planning lessons.
For leaders, it's unmistakable. Collective action isn't abstract. It's measurable, organized, and costly to dismiss.
Stay with us. More deep dive ahead. Today, birthdays for Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, 1749, David Fincher, 1962, and Shania Twain, 1965.
Goethe towers historically, while Fincher and Twain each reshaped their industries, film technique and crossover country pop. Quick take before we zoom in?
Briefly, Fincher redefined visual storytelling and pacing, and Twain remade country pop with unprecedented reach craft meeting market. But Goethe's life rippled across literature, science, and philosophy in a way that sets a broader template.
Agreed. He's hard to box into a single field, a writer and poet who also shaped scientific thought and philosophical discourse. That interdisciplinarity amplifies influence.
From an urban planning adjacent angle, I'm struck by how Goethe's work frames people in context. Faust and Werther capture tensions between individual desire, social norms, and environment, the same feedback cities and infrastructure mediate every day.
Economically, his era saw patronage give way to early market dynamics for books and ideas, changing how intellectuals sustained themselves and how culture scaled. That's structural change in real time.
Lesser known but telling. Beyond poetry and drama, he kept meticulous scientific observations, color theory and plant morphology among them, showing a methodical, almost engineering curiosity about natural systems.
And that method becomes systems thinking, mapping motifs to empirical patterns, helping his ideas endure long after stylistic fashions fade.
His role in Sturm und Drang pushed emotional realism into public discourse, reshaping notions of individual agency, foundational for how modern societies design civic space and participation.
Politically, his prominence set cultural standards across German-speaking regions, nudging education priorities and the economics of publishing and theater. Those institutional effects compound over generations.
His work resists simple periodization. Faust wrestles with timeless ethical questions while reflecting the scientific and social currents of his lifetime.
That duality, big, enduring themes grounded in close observation, is why analysts and policymakers keep referencing him. He's both a mirror and a model for change.
Practical takeaway for listeners. Goethe shows how technical curiosity plus narrative craft creates durable cultural infrastructure. Ideas that travel because they connect empirical detail with human feeling.
And on legacy, whether it's Fincher's cinematic technique or Twain's genre-bending markets, Goethe reminds us that lasting influence usually comes from bridging domains.
Exactly. Sustained relevance comes from rigorous observation, commitment to craft, and translating deep questions into forms that move people.
That synthesis is why Goethe still matters. Less a relic, more a live reference for how ideas shape institutions and markets today.
Time for a quick pause. We'll explore more when Neural Newscast Deep Dive returns.
You are listening to NNC, Neural Newscast. All the day's news synthesized and verified. Visit our archive for past episodes at neuralnewscast.com.
Welcome back to Neural Newscast Deep Dive. Let's continue our exploration. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts pump to the gills, and 1 pumps to the rest of the body.
That layout is striking in its simplicity and efficiency. Clear division of labor between oxygen intake and distribution, right?
Exactly. From an engineering standpoint, it's elegant. Localized pumps for oxygen exchange at the gills, plus a central pump for systemic flow.
Economically speaking, it's specialization for energy allocation. Dedicating 2 pumps to oxygen uptake maximizes the return on a costly process.
And that blue blood isn't cosmetic. It reflects copper-based hemocyanin in their circulatory chemistry, tuned for oxygen transport in cold, low-oxygen water.
The 2-to-1 split also signals resilience. Separating gill and body flows reduces interference between oxygenation and systemic delivery under different activity levels.
Think of it like infrastructure redundancy, dedicated intake and distribution conduits to keep performance stable under varying loads.
From a market analyst lens, it's the classic efficiency of specialized subsystems. Organisms and organizations both benefit from that clarity of function.
Compact and practical. 2 hearts for the gills, 1 for the body. A succinct blueprint for the whole circulatory strategy.
Short, precise, revealing 3 hearts, blue blood, 2 for the gills, 1 for the body. Focused design in a single sentence. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. From Jonathan and all of us at Neural Newscasts, I'm Ethan. Join us next time.
You've been listening to Neural Newscast. Visit us online for past stories, share today's episode, or subscribe for daily updates at neuralnewscast.com. Neural Newscast blends real and AI-generated voices for fast, high-quality production. All content is AI-generated with human oversight, including fact-checking and review. While we aim for accuracy and neutrality, errors may occur. Verify critical details from trusted sources. Learn more at nnewscast.com.